Hello, everybody. Batman is going wild, like always. I hope everybody had a really good week. I know I did. Right, Batman? Mwah. Hi, baby. Batman. Of course, Batman heard me talking, so now he has to jump up here, which is totally fine. I don't really mind him entertaining me and whatnot. Right, Batman? Right? Right? Your little tail in the air? Huh? Batman? Little Papa? Whoa. Whoa. He moved that himself. Batman. Okay. I just hope he doesn't knock the... Okay. I guess you're gonna... Okay, perfect. Okay, so welcome to my channel. And today we are going to be reading chapters 37 and 38 without any disturbance as much from Batman, right? Hello, Papa? Batman. Sorry. Okay, so we are going to start reading. I probably am going to have to get some water, but I forgot to grab it. Oh, well. Okay, so we are going to start off with chapter 37, and then after that, I'll read chapter 38 because it's a short chapter. It's like only one page, so, okay. I'm really excited for chapter 39 because, okay, maybe I shouldn't say anything, but I'm just excited for it. So, okay, I'll be reading chapter 37 from Awakened Evil. With both hands on the steering wheel, Madison slowly drove down the back alley, passing wooden fences and large plastic trash cans. She stopped by the wooden gate that led to the back of the house and the yard. Dad always loved to build things with wood. The alleyway was known for Keegan's greatest escape. When he started to hang out with Terrence, Horace, and Neve, he would go escape through the back alley at night when Madison and Mom were asleep. It brought back bad memories. The sad part about it was that Keegan never did that when Dad was alive. After Dad had died, Madison saw a change in Keegan, and if Dad were still alive, he wouldn't allow it. Madison reached behind the seat for a box of rubber gloves. She pulled them on, grabbed the digital camera in the back seat, and pressed the power button. Once the screen lit, she then got out and quietly closed the door. Before going any further, she studied all the neighbors' houses to make sure there were no cars in the driveway. They all must be at work. Madison hurried over. Once the screen, before going any further, Madison hurried over to the wooden gate and pulled a key out. Once it was unlocked, she stepped in and quietly closed it, then locked it. She turned the doorknob, but it was stuck. It was like somebody was holding it so it wouldn't open. I lost my spot. The curtain to the window on the other side moved just an inch, then dropped back down. Something or someone was on the other side, not letting her in. But who or what could it be? She took a step back, thinking maybe an intruder was in the house. Could the killer be hiding something? Maybe the knife? No way. She was going to allow that. No way she was going to allow that. She pushed up against it so hard it flew open, just like she did to the girls on the soccer field. She looked around, but no one was there. Closing the door behind her, she saw the sunlight shine in the living room. Mom never liked to have the blinds open. Too many people looking in. But something didn't feel right. Someone or something was watching her. It didn't feel evil or mean. She stopped in the living room, staring at the couch. She remembered everything from that day. When Keegan came home, then getting into a fight with him. If they didn't get into a fight, she knew Keegan would still be alive because she would have saved him and probably see who tried to kill him. Everything was still the same. The house was still under investigation. She wasn't even supposed to be here or let anyone back in it, or let alone be in it. She stared up the stairs, and right before taking the first step, a gush of cold air bolted past her. She screamed and turned. What in God's name was that? She stood there thinking the air was on, but it couldn't be because Madison and her mom hadn't been here. She placed her hand on the rail and took one step at a time. She felt a coldness in front of her as if it was trying to stop her from going up there. Each time she came closer and closer to the top. A sick feeling settled in the pit of her stomach, but she kept going. Once Madison got to the top of the landing, she stared down the dark hallway. She went into Keegan's bedroom. The floor had a huge blood stain on the carpet by the bed. She held the camera up to her eye and snapped a few pictures of the bed and the blood stain. As she did, a book flipped off the edge of the desk and landed onto the floor right by her shoe. It startled Madison, almost losing grip of the camera. She stood there with a wide-eyed gaze. Is somebody in the room with me? It couldn't have been an intruder because they would have attacked me by now. She glanced around at the floor and by the headboard for any signs of a struggle that Keegan would have caused. All the CDs, including the radio, were still in their spots. If Keegan was attacked by someone, he would have knocked them all off with both arms because he would try to free himself from the attacker, or maybe make some noise to get her attention because she was in the house at the same time, or in the house at the time. She snapped pictures of the window and where the headboard would have been. She searched the room from bottom to top for any more signs. A noise from the closet caught her attention. She opened the door and stared at the shelf. Madison's heart sank and felt sick. She pulled the box down and stared at the Ouija board. She had no idea Keegan was into this stuff. Why didn't I see any of the warning signs? Did he use the board at the cabin? Did he summon something? Maybe he brought the two little girls through the board, and maybe they brought something else with them. She grabbed a small bag big enough to fit the board. She turned around and saw the blood stain. That was too much to see because it reminded her of that night, and now she wanted out. Tears filled her eyes. I'm sorry, Keegan. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, a familiar voice whispered. Madison paused and glanced up. Keegan? Keegan, is that you? Her shoulder became ice cold and realized somebody was there. A shuffling sound echoed down the hallway. She swallowed and stared at her bedroom. A cold breeze shot through Madison so fast and hard it slammed her forward to the floor. The bag slipped from her hand and it dropped. The Ouija board slipped out with the planchette. She stayed there on her stomach and didn't move. The planchette slid across the board to the letters R-U-N. Run. Madison leaned up on both hands. Who is this? The planchette spelled out L-E-A-V-E. Leave. The board and planchette was pushed back in the bag as if somebody else had done it. It was quiet. too quiet for a bright morning. In those quiet, quick seconds, something from down the hall by her room was heard. No, the handle turned just like in those horror movies. No wonder Dad never let her watch those movies as a kid, because it would affect her in the future. She snatched the bag and stood. The handle stopped, and then the door clicked open. The pace in her chest beat faster. She pressed her back to the wall by the top of the staircase. In the darkness, a woman appeared in the doorway with her head down. Madison took a step back until her back touched the wall. Her face wasn't noticeable, but the dress seemed familiar. Where have I seen it? She reached in her bag, lifted the camera, and snapped a couple pictures. The woman lifted her head and grinned. "Madison," the woman screamed, "I'm coming for you." Her laugh echoed like a loud tunnel beneath the ground. She lost her footing and tumbled backwards down the steps. She tried to grab the rail and stop herself, but it happened so fast her head banged on the last step. The side of her skull throbbed with pain, and then she lost consciousness. When she came to, there was a nudging on her shoulder. It was the same motion Keegan used to pull when they were kids. He always woke her up just to make her mad. She looked to see, but nobody was there. Once her eyes adjusted, she reached for the edge of the coffee table and pulled herself up. Next to her was the camera. She put it in her bag and ran to the back door. She tripped over her own 2 feet and fell forward to the floor. The bag fell beside her. The camera bounced twice as it took a picture and flashed right in her face. She leaned back, squeezing her eyes shut, and rubbed them. Ouch! She opened her eyes and saw black spots floating around. She blinked, then saw the camera sitting in front of the back door where she had entered. Within a few seconds, as it grew quiet, not a sound of a dog barking or a car going by was heard. "Keegan, is that you?" she asked, feeling the heavy beating in her chest. "If it is, stop scaring me." The camera slowly turned around, pointing at her, and then it stopped for a brief second. And then it slid across the floor and stopped by her shoes. Madison screamed and didn't hesitate. She grabbed the camera and felt someone grab her ankle. She was yanked across the floor and pulled towards the staircase. She screamed and grabbed onto the last step as her nails dug into the wood. Her breasts and ribs pressed against the hard wooden floor. She cringed in pain as tears filled her eyes. "No," a voice screamed. "Let go of my sister." Keegan is here. Keegan is here. Suddenly, her wrists were grabbed by an ice cold fingers. One set of hands on her left wrist and another pair on her right. Was it Keegan trying to save her? If it is, then who else is here? It was like a tug of war between good and evil. "Pull, Terrence." "I am." Madison pulled her legs free and fell down the last step and on her back. "Get up, Madison, get up." "Keegan? Hurry, she's here." She grabbed the camera and the bag, then ran out to the car. She sat in the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel, and eased her breathing. What the hell just happened? She calmed herself down and felt like something was missing. What was it, though? It took a few seconds, and then finally it came to her mind. When she was at the cabin in the woods with Richie and Keegan's other two friends, they all heard her high heels upstairs. Could it be the witch from the cabin the two little girls were talking about? So it wasn't just the two small girls that followed her home. The witch did too. Madison pulled out of the alley and headed down the road. A few blocks away, she stopped at a red light and saw Richie's truck in the driveway at his mom and dad's house. Good thing he's home. She pulled up beside the truck and got out. Something on the windshield caught her attention. There were little handprints on the glass. So she really did see the two little girls in the school's parking lot. She wasn't crazy. Whoa. She reached over and tapped her finger on the prints. She opened the back door and pulled out the bag with the camera and the Ouija board in it. She adjusted the lens and snapped a few pictures, closed the door, then walked up to the steps. She knocked a few times and waited. No answer. She knocked again. Still nothing. He had to be home. His truck was in the driveway. She glanced down at her watch. It was only 9 a.m. The door opened. It was Richie wearing his workout clothes. He smiled, glad to see her, and took her hand. You don't have to knock. He led her in, then closed the door behind them. She walked over to the counter to place both hands on the edge of the sink. She stared at the street with a few cars passing by. A lady in the front yard planted and watered her colorful flower bed. Many types of flowers grouped together. Richie's toes touched the back of hers. Richie. She turned around and looked up into his eyes. I have something crazy to tell you. I know you'll believe me because you don't think I'm crazy. What's wrong? I think I know who killed Keegan and why. Richie paused, staring at her. You do? Yeah. Let's sit outside and get some fresh air. I'm feeling a sweat coming on, and I have 2 hours before I have to pick up Johanna. You can come with me if you want when I go get her. She nodded and followed him to the back door. They both sat on the bench and enjoyed the bright morning. It felt good to get some fresh air and clear her mind after everything that has happened so far. How do you know what killed Keegan? I thought it was homicide. Why would you say homicide? Because that was written on Terrence's report. Keegan's death wasn't solved, and Terrence's probably won't either. I think a witch killed Keegan, and all the dreams I'm having of the past or future could lead to the answers I've been waiting for. For a moment, Richie said nothing. You're having psychic dreams and a witch killed your brother? What? Psychic dreams? No. I mean, I don't know. I'm not having a vision in my sleep, okay? No one in my family even has that ability. Not even my ancestors. As far as I know. Did Keegan? She shrugged. Even if he did, he wouldn't have told us. He kept a lot of things to himself after Dad passed away. What do you know about the witch? The two little girls told me at the school parking lot. What? 2 little girls? I don't know who they are. I keep seeing them in my dreams, and then I'm awake during the day. They told me word for word, your brother awoke the witch. That's it. They said nothing else? No, I think that's what they were trying to tell me all along. Richie sat there and listened. I put it together in my mind, and I think I have it all figured out now. I'm listening. That night when Keegan came home, he was all freaked out and scared like he had seen a ghost or something. When the two girls told me your brother woke the witch, the first time that came to my mind was the witch. He must have awakened her somehow. It makes sense, right? Richie leaned forward and rubbed his face. Terrence was with them that night. Do you think the witch killed him too? I'm not sure. There's still a lot of answers that need to be solved. Let's just keep this to ourselves. I don't want my mom to know. Chapter 38. Little brown-nosed brat, Inga yelled. Where are those children's souls coming from? Master, don't you remember? Peter said. All the children were released from the diamond when that girl, Olivia, Joseph added, stabbed you. Their souls are scattered everywhere now. It's impossible to catch them all. Inga remembered the first soul she had Peter bring her, Henry. Once she had him, she felt the strong energy from his soul and wanted him. The soul made her strong and not weak. She felt powerful and unstoppable. She wanted more. She needed more. She had to have more. Inga heard a giggle outside the window on the porch. She walked over, pushing Peter and Joseph out of the way. Mark stayed back. She opened the door, and it flew back and bounced off the wall. Yeah, go ahead and laugh, you little demons. When I catch you, you're gonna wish you never messed with me. She looked up at the sky, raising both arms, and screamed, I am awakened, she grinned. The birds in the trees scattered off in 2 different directions. Woo-doo-doo. I really love that chapter. Wow. That was a good one. I think Inga is like getting more mad and she's getting more angry. So, let's talk about, okay, so chapter 37. So, this, when I wrote Madison, and then her only brother, being murdered, killed, and it was her only one, I knew the type of person she was, that she was going to try and solve this. So she decided that she was going to go to the house and figure out how Keegan was killed because they said it was a homicide. So she goes to the house and then she's being attacked by this unknown force. And I did watch a little bit of movies to try to figure out like how it could happen. I checked out books to try to do some research of what type of scene I wanted to write. So I didn't know like if I wanted her body flown across the room or if I wanted her shoved down the steps, because like you do like in those paranormal movies, you do sometimes in movies you see people being like shoved or pushed, scratched, possessed and attacked and stuff. So I thought maybe when she was coming down the stairs, something latches onto her and she can't free herself. So it's like a tug between good and evil. The witch has like a hold of her, and then Keegan and Terrence has a hold of her wrist. So the one chapter before 36, Keegan was outside and he decided like, okay, I'll go do the quest. He sees Madison coming down the road and she pulls into like the alleyway in the last chapter. And he's like, oh my God, we can't let her go in the house. Because obviously Keegan saw the witch, like the evil, And so I knew like these four characters were going to have like a war in this house. I so I got that chapter wrote, and then I wanted to write the next chapter, 38. So Inga is like awakened, obviously, we know that. And she's trying every effort that she can to try to get a soul so she's strong enough to move around. And she can't because she keeps getting interrupted. And there's too many adults around, so she can't get what she wants and she can't finish her mission. And I just had a lot of fun doing this one chapter. So the one scene where Madison went upstairs to Keegan's room, and when she was like taking pictures and stuff, like I never wrote a book with like not like a suicide, but like homicide or like a character being killed like in the bedroom or whatever. So I had to do a ton of research, and that's when I think when I wrote this book, I knew since there was going to be like 2 murders in Awakened Evil, I knew I was going to have to do some research. So I think I discovered Forensic Files, and I was actually watching that this morning and yesterday. So I watched a ton of stuff that involved like blood, and I can't explain it. Like the scene, I think I did explain this in, what chapter was it? The one chapter where Madison heard a thud noise and she opens Keegan's door and she finds him dead. So I didn't really know what a death scene looked like, and there's all different kinds of death scenes. Like if someone committed suicide, maybe there's a gun in their hand and maybe they're slumped over and there's brain across the wall or something, like I don't know. But he was like cut on the neck. There was one movie, one TV show, what was it called? It wasn't Forensic Files. It was like this one TV show where, of course, they would like, the camera crew would go into the morgue and they would, oh wait, I just about had it. It's a female. No, I wasn't watching her yet. I don't know. Dr. Oz, not Dr. Oz. I can't remember. But there was this one TV show where they got to go in there, but they had to blur out like the body's face and of course like the parts and stuff for respect of privacy. And then I watched Forensic Files, and then I think Unsolved Mysteries maybe. There was one movie that I fell in love with that I watched a lot because, like I said, like I don't know anything about suicide, homicide, anything like that. Oh, and I watched a lot of Rescue 911s because, like, okay, so after someone dies, what happens after that? So the cleanup crew comes in. I did watch a bunch of those. So basically, yeah, I was like trying to watch as much Forensic Files, and I did some research on homicide. It wasn't suicide. They just did homicide because they couldn't find the person that did this. And then Madison kind of like realized like, oh, okay, so Keegan told me that he has awakened the witch. So now she thinks that him and his friends has awakened a witch. And that's where we're left off. And then, of course, we're in Inga's point of view. And she was just getting all mad because she's weak and she doesn't have her diamond. And all these kids' souls that she had trapped are, like, scattered everywhere. And they're just getting in the way. And she can't do what she wants. Yes, Batman. So, that is basically, like, where we are. So, the next chapter, 39, is from, Madison's point of view. Yeah, I think this next chapter is going to be, like, really long. But I am, like, so excited because, I don't want to say it because I'm afraid someone's going to comment and say, read, read, read. It is pretty long, but I don't care. This is how long the next chapter is. Look how thick that is. Good Lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. Good Lord. 9. So I am going to have to read chapter 39 and 40 because there's another Inga chapter. So this is how thick the next chapter is. So I may have to read a little, like an hour before I will read my next chapter. So chapter 39 will be Monday because, so my calendar, is it this one? No. November. Okay. So I showed you guys this plenty of times, but I had wrote down the next chapters I'm going to be reading. So chapter 39 and 40 I'll be reading Monday the 22nd, and then chapters 41 and 42 Wednesday, and then chapters 37 and 38 Friday. No, wait, I'm sorry. Chapters 42, 41 and 42 the 24th, and then the 26th, 43, and then the 29th, 44 and 45. So then we go to December. And this is my planner. I love it. Okay, let me go. And then, so like we get clear down. The last chapter of Awakened Evil is chapter 55, okay? And that is on December 20th. And there's like a short story in the back of Awakened Evil. And we're going to do, it's a Gina short story that I wrote. So it's going to be short story part 1 on December 22nd. And then the day before Christmas Eve, I'm going to read part 2. It's not really a part 1 and part 2. It's just really long. So that's what I'm going to do. So then, which I'm really excited, after we're done reading, Awakened Evil, we are going to start reading Wicked Curse. I don't know if you can see it, but so then for January, I got it all planned out. I'm actually pet sitting, I think. Okay, here's December. So I'm thinking on the first or second week I'm pet sitting for a friend, but I will be able to still do these. I will. I promise. I'll have Chewy and Yogi, I think is what their names are, with me, sitting beside me. So I thought about maybe, I already wrote it all down. I hate to mess it up, but I thought about maybe the first week or the first 2 days read like chapters 1, and then on this January 2nd read chapter 2, but chapter 1 and chapter 2 I'm going to read on January 1st. And that's New Year's Day. So I figured like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. Why not start reading the next book on New Year's Day? So that would be perfect. So I am like so excited to start reading Wicked Curse. I don't know if you guys seen it. Let me grab a copy. I don't want to mess that up. Okay. I'm back. Alright. So, after we are done reading Awakened Evil, we are going to start reading Wicked Curse. And I brought in, like, I think 2 new characters, I think. So, I just, like, I can't wait to start reading it. I could, maybe what I'll do is I will read the back of this. Okay. Tyler has fallen into... I will read the back of this just to get you guys, like, amped up and ready to go. Okay. Tyler has fallen into Inga's spell. What are her plans for him now? Olivia and Gina are in a world beyond their century, where villagers hang and burn accused witches of witchcraft. What's the story behind this village? Not all witches are evil. Belinda, a witch who can connect with nature and animals, helps Olivia and Gina. Edith, a witch that connects with the ocean, gives Olivia a bowl of herbs, and Suzanne, who lives in the pond, gives Olivia a vial to help Tyler. Back in Traverse City, Madison mourns a heavy depression of her brother, Keegan. For Richie's little sister, Johanna, something dark and sinister emerges from her tiny body and lurks in the basement as it slowly grows by each hour. What could it be? While Keegan and Terrence try to find a way out of the mess they are in, they stumble across... Oh my gosh. I had fun writing this part. While Keegan and Terrence try to find a way out of the mess they are in, they stumble across an abandoned houses where Keegan discovers a journal. Can one potion save a life, or can a mysterious journal call upon the dead if opened? Oh, now you cannot tell me that is not interesting. Oh my gosh. All of that I just read. So the characters, Belinda, she can connect with nature. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun writing her character. She talks to nature, she can connect with nature. I mean, she just loves nature. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I have to tell you this though. There was a scene in this book where Olivia and Gina arrived to Belinda's house, and Belinda is like talking to the deer and feeding it, like, I think grapes or something, I don't know. But I wrote that scene, and I think she said, it's about time you two arrived. So if I could find it, I would read that little part. Maybe it's in here. I don't know. I think it's too far in the book, but it's not too far maybe. And don't you guys just love this cover? I mean, it's the vial that Olivia has around her neck. And then there's like a blue mist that comes off the vial when it's working. And then there's like the woods behind. I love this cover. Oh my gosh. I just love this series like so much. Oh, I just love it. So then, after we're done reading Wicked Curse, guess what we're going to read next? Mystical. So we do have some symbols on the front. So these actually play a role out like through this whole book here. So we have, I can't even hardly see them, but there's like fire, water, air, and witchcraft. There's a star. I think one is death. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but I love this cover as well. Oh my gosh. This is an awesome, awesome cover. So since I read the back of this one, I am seriously going to have to read the back of this one because this book here, this one was a lot of fun to write too. And I was kind of like hesitant in a way to just take my time writing it because it is like the last book in the series. So I can read the blurb to this. I mean, it's online anyways, so I'm not like giving it away or anything. And it's already published. So this is the blurb on the back of the book for Mystical. Okay. In the world of witchcraft, spells, and magic, witches can be deadly when it comes to what they want the most. And for Inga Black, she must get the mystical journal from Keegan and Terrence to raise the dead. She awakened her only two sisters, Sasha and Misty, to help nurture the eclipse. When 6-year-old Briley Brooks goes missing without a trace on a quiet Sunday afternoon in Blair Air, Michigan, Izzy, Gina's older sister, can't do anything but cry and worry about her daughter. Was visiting Gina a mistake? Olivia makes a final attempt to bring Inga down. Something is keeping her alive and powerful. What's inside the glass ball? And how is it possible to kill the dead when they are already dead? Okay, so that is a good point. How do you kill the dead when they are already dead? Now, I seriously had to put that in this blurb. Because it is true, like, they're already dead, so how is it possible to kill them? So, I'm really, really excited. Wait, I think it's backwards. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm so excited to start reading these two. I love it, I love it, I love it. And they're almost both thick, the same thickness right there. See how thick they are? And see how beautiful they are side by side? Beautiful. I am like so excited to do my high school visit that I'm doing in January. I'm definitely going to take these books and my poetry books and let them look at it. So we're starting to get like into like what's really going on in the story and stuff in this one. So I'm just like, I just can't wait to start reading Wicked Curse. I love this cover. Okay, I guess it's 43 minutes now, so I guess I better stop talking. See, this is what happens. I get into all this, and I don't want to stop talking, and I want to keep reading. But next Monday when I read, this is going to be a long chapter to read. 9 pages. But it's going to be fun and interesting because they do play a game with something and then a lot of weird crap just starts happening. So I am really, really excited to read Monday. So I'm going to stop talking. So thank you guys so much for reading with me or just listening along. So next Monday is November 22nd. And that's chapter 39 and 40. And I will be probably reading at 4 o'clock. I'm used to reading at 4 o'clock because on Wednesdays I do 4 o'clock. So anyways, okay. I will see you guys Monday at 4 o'clock. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. And I will see you Monday. Bye.